Now to the escalating tensions between Israelis and Palestinians, a UN peace envoy is warning of a full-scale war as the two sides scale up rockets and airstrikes. And the Israeli Prime Minister has declared a state of emergency in the city of Lod after clashes between Jews and Arabs. And for more on this, let's go live to Stephanie Fried in Tel Aviv. Stephanie, tell us the latest on the ground.
The developments are happening rapidly, and there's an intensity here of exchange of fire between the sides that's unprecedented. There are approximately more than 900 rockets that have been fired from Gaza onto Israeli cities since this campaign started on Sunday night. Israel has struck hundreds and hundreds of sites inside of Gaza by land, air, and sea. That campaign continues. Some of the new developments overnight on Tuesday, rockets fired here into Tel Aviv, central Israel, which is a particularly vibrant city, and it's longer range than Hamas generally fires from Gaza rockets onto the city. On the death toll in terms of on the Israeli side, right now it's between 5 and 7 because this is rapidly happening so quickly. We're trying to get an accurate figure that's reliable, but that's what we're understanding, 5 to 7 Israelis. Right now schools are closed throughout Israel. There's been an order handed down from the government that gatherings of people in the areas that have been hit by rockets, no more than 10 people can gather together. I'm looking out on Tel Aviv now. Generally, there would be people running, jogging, having coffee at this time of the morning before they go to work. It's quiet, silent, and I'm in a mixed area. You talked about a state of emergency in Lod. I'm in a mixed area of Muslims, Jews, Christians. It's an Arab-Jewish mixed area. This is an area as well. There have been riots that have been breaking out in mixed areas like that all throughout Israel, torching cars, setting synagogues on fire, setting properties, throwing Molotov cocktails through people's windows. The Prime Minister declared a state of emergency in Lod, that's about 15 kilometers east of here, because of that rioting, and called in border police to that area. And that's a growing issue. There's a sense of chaos as the rockets and the strikes go back and forth between the sides. A growing sense of chaos also with the rioting that's happening in these mixed areas throughout Israel. And updates constantly in terms of Israel. People are being advised to stay close to home and close to their bomb shelters. Lee Dongling.
Well, the UN is warning of a possible full-scale war and is urging both sides to stop fighting. Do you see that full-scale war is possible?
Certainly possible. This is an escalation, again, that's unprecedented, and that's because of the intensity and the frequency of the rockets that are being fired from Gaza. On the Israeli side, in terms of targeting, striking, this has been going on for years. And as you noted, there was a demand from the UN that there be a ceasefire. Israel is saying no. Hamas is saying no. So that would only lead to further escalation, depending on the tools at each side's on both sides to continue escalating this situation. There's growing criticism among the intelligence, military, and political, those realms within Israel about how this is being handled, saying this has been going on for 20 years, back and forth, rockets and then strikes that Israel carries out in Gaza. And what these different people in these areas are saying is, here we are again. So different escalation demands addressing this problem, an ongoing problem, critical issue in a different way. And that's the question, is how will it be addressed? But right now, Israel's government certainly isn't looking to back down, and they're saying they'll just continue escalating the intensity. Lee Dongming?
As you said, neither side is backing down indeed, and the tension is still escalating. But is there any possibility, or are there any efforts being made to ease up the situation then?
Absolutely, there are efforts that are being made, but those are external efforts. Egypt tried to mediate between the sides. Apparently, Egyptian mediators were rebuffed. Again, the UN is demanding or calling the international community, appealing for calm, appealing for a de-escalation, trying to intervene between the sides. The U.S. State Department, so many different sources that are expressing alarm and appealing for a de-escalation. There is some speculation that as we head into the weekend, there could be a de-escalation. But then again, other sources are saying it not necessarily. So anything really is possible. This escalated very quickly, and again, in a very intense way. Could it de-escalate in the same way? Possibly. We've seen so many rounds like this that went from very intense to de-escalation. We're just going to keep watching on Wednesday and in the coming days and see what happens.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Stephanie Fried, reporting from Tel Aviv. Now, at least 35 Palestinians, including 10 children, have been killed as Israeli warplanes continue to strike the region. And our reporter Noor Harazin is having more from Gaza.
On Tuesday, Israeli warplanes struck a building with several rockets, destroying the 13th-floor Hanadi Tower, which is one of Gaza's tallest buildings. Dozens of Palestinian families who were residing in the building are now homeless. Earlier in the day, Israeli airstrikes targeted several other buildings in Gaza. Many homes were partly damaged or destroyed. CGTN met with Osama Subah, a Palestinian man who lost his mother in one of the Israeli air raids on a residential building in Ash-Shati refugee camp.
We demand the international community, the Arab and Islamic nation, to intervene urgently. We do not want them only to denounce and condemn, but to put an end to the Israeli aggression on defenseless civilians who are powerless, like my mother.
Palestinian resistance groups in Gaza claimed responsibility for more than 250 rockets that were fired from Gaza towards Israel during the day, announcing that they will continue as long as Israel keeps striking the Gaza Strip.
We were all shocked at the bombing that happened. It is terrifying. Our shops were damaged by the bombing. Our homes were destroyed. The Israeli army does not differentiate between a civilian or a military person. This puts us all in its targets, which means that our lives, our families, are all under bombardment.
The latest Israeli-Palestinian confrontation in Gaza followed mounting Palestinian anger over the threatened evacuation of families from their homes in East Jerusalem, has sparked clashes in Jerusalem and tensions in Gaza. Noor Harazin, CGTN, Gaza.